Welcome to Behind the Bower, where we bring you inspiring conversations, a fresh look at arts in our community, and spotlights on the incredible artists, performers, collaborative partners, and organizations that make our creative world thrive. Through this podcast, we aim to celebrate the universal expression of human experience through arts, culture, and community. I'm your host today, Lauren Hood, Program Coordinator for Bower Center for the Arts. In this episode, we're exploring the art of needle felting with the incredibly talented Belle Thomas. Belle is a self-taught fiber artist whose creative journey began as a painter but quickly transformed into thriving passion for felting. She now shares her love for craft through workshops and classes, inspiring others to step outside their comfort zones and embrace their creativity. Today, we'll chat about her upcoming Felted Wool Forest Painting Workshop, the Art on Tap event series at Beals, and what makes teaching this unique art form so rewarding. Good morning, Belle.
Hi.
Thanks for joining me. It's good. I'm super excited to have you on today.
Me too.
So we're just going to dive right into these questions because I'm super excited to get to know more about your story and then have the audience know more about your story as well. So, Belle, your journey into needle felting started from painting. What was that transition like and what drew you to fiber art?
The transition for me personally was super easy because I've been a professional painter for about 12-ish years and then did digital art alongside that. I started fiber art, needle felting specifically, about 5 years ago. I knew about it way before then when I boarded my horse at a sheep farm in North Carolina when my ex-husband was stationed there.
Yeah.
And the owner of the sheep farm showed me like, oh, this is what needle felting is. It's like, this is amazing. Like, I would love to learn this, whether I pay you or, guide me to what I need to do. And she's like, oh, no, only certain people are allowed to do this. I was like, oh, that's so great. I'm going to do it anyway. And I did. So I just started dabbling in it.
Yeah.
And, a lot of just like trial and error. And then, I don't know, it just kind of exploded into what it is now, this huge thing. And so, it was personally an easy transition from, acrylic and watercolor painting to, the fiber art because, I do mainly painting with wool. And I just, think of my needle as a paintbrush. And, you have thousands of different colors of wool that you can use. So, those are my paints per se. So,
yeah, absolutely. As a self-taught artist, you've developed your own style. So how did you go about experimenting and kind of refining your techniques?
I used the same techniques that I was using in my watercolor and acrylic painting. How I developed those, just lots of reading, lots of trial and error. I did have some art instructors growing up.
Yeah.
But I mainly was focusing on, the horse showing that I did when I was a kid. So, just trial and error. Just, I figured out what worked for me.
Yeah.
I, tried different brushes, different paint, different brands of, painting and stuff. And, same thing with the felting, once I transitioned over full time, I was like, okay, we're going to figure out what works. And I figured out very quickly that the painting, the wool paintings that I do are a lot easier than like the 3D felting, which I offer those, but they're kind of more difficult.
Yeah.
So I try to do like the simpler 3D felting, which I know you've seen me do.
Yeah.
So but I quickly realized like those 3D felted sculptures that people make that look exactly like a dog or a horse, those are like insanely detailed. I can't do that. And I know I can't. And I've tried, and that's fine. So the wool paintings, the simpler 3D things, and we're good to go on that.
That's awesome. No, I love that. So you're really passionate about teaching and encouraging others to step outside of their creative comfort zones. What do you love most about sharing this craft with your students?
Well, it goes back to that lady who said I wasn't allowed to.
Yeah.
That spite drove me, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't like being told I'm not allowed to do something, like something like this. Like we don't gatekeep art.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah.
So it's just so rude. And, so when I started teaching at Erica's shop, Stitch Witch, and she really helped me define, how to go about this because all I did, the only teaching experience I ever had was horse lessons, because I have a degree in that.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. So this was a whole different world, like the fiber, the yarns, all of that. I was like, what? So Erica really helped me like get out in the world with the teaching. Mm-hmm. And I taught a couple classes with her first, and she was like, I think you got this, Belle. You can do this. Because I was really hesitant. Like, maybe I should just stay here, in my little bubble. And she's like, you got to get out of your bubble and just go further. And that's what I did. And, once in a while I'll text her, be like, Erica, am I doing this right? Like, can you help me, guide me? I love her.
That's awesome.
So anyway, back to the original question. When I teach these classes, I'm always like, this is, it can be intimidating, but you don't know till you try.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier than it looks. And, especially the classes, I try to do, easier classes for people because they don't know what it is. And I'm like, when I do have people come take the class, they are like, wow, this is amazing. I want to do all the felting. So they're asking me like 1,000 questions, like what to use, needles, fibers, they'll even get down to the like types of yarn blends, which then I will send them to someone else. I'm like, oh, I will answer every question you have. Here's my card. Email me more if you have them. I love sitting there and answering those questions and guiding them along the process. Because if they're really, they're really, really into it, like, oh yeah, I'm not keeping this.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. Whatever you want, I will give it to you. If you're willing to learn it, we got this.
Yeah. No, I absolutely love that. Is that your experience with, somebody gatekeeping the art has now like, almost like you were just like full throttle, like, no, like every detail I'm sharing with you and like, we're going to get through this together. And like that, I love that. That's such a great testimony to that.
I do make some on my Instagram. When I have the time, because time is very rare for me. I make little short educational videos on felting. Like, here's how to quickly blend 3 or 4 different colors.
Yeah.
Here's how to do detailing on a brooch. Here's how to blah, blah, blah. And, I can't literally like at least once a day, I get a message. Hey, I saw your Instagram. How do you blend the colors? And I'll send them video. Hey, how did you make the chicken? Here's the video. Like, whatever you need. And if I don't have a video on it, I will make one for you.
Yeah.
Or, I'll just give you a quick synopsis over a voice message.
Yeah.
I'm always willing to, sit down, especially if you're really dedicated and interested and are not wasting my time. I will definitely sit there and explain to you, like, here's what I used for this.
Right.
Here's what I used for that,
Yeah.
So,
No, that's awesome. The power of social media. That's awesome. I love that you share all of those videos, those instructions. I love watching those videos.
It's satisfying.
Yeah.
Like, I like watching them myself, and I'm the one making it. Like, it's so cool to like speed it up and watch it back. I'm like, this is great.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. So have you had any like particularly memorable moments in your workshops or your classes where you saw someone have a breakthrough with their creativity?
There was a class that I had probably 2 years ago. And it was at a yarn shop in Roanoke that unfortunately ended up closing down. Wool Workshop, that was the name. Really, really pretty shop. And I taught there like once a month. This was like 2 years ago. And it was a mom and her daughter, and the daughter has dabbled in felting before. And I think we were doing like 3D pumpkins, like mini 3D pumpkins. And, super simple. And when I because for the pumpkins, I use a styrofoam ball base. It just speeds up the process because we don't have time to sit there and build it from core wool. So this just, it's fine. She I saw her mind just like when she's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you could use styrofoam bases for stuff. Yeah, honey, you can. There's no rules to this.
Yeah. Blew
her mind. And then, we got to talking. Such a sweet little girl. I think she had ADHD or something. Yeah. So, her attention was everywhere, and that's fine. Not a big deal. And she was talking to me about different breeds of wool. And I'm like, I own all these breeds. Yeah. Like, not the actual sheep. I own their fiber and the locks and stuff because I process the fleeces. And she was like, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to know what it was like to feel that stuff. So I was like, oh, I can totally send some to you. I have plenty.
Yeah.
And she, like, her whole face was like, oh, are you serious? I was like, yeah, I'll mail it to you. You don't have to pay anything. I have so much to share.
Yeah.
So I mailed it to her. Her mom, like, emailed me and was like, she cried.
Oh.
She cried because she was so excited to get, like, raw, because she wanted to know what it was like to process raw fiber from start to finish. And she wanted to know what it was like processing locks from different breeds. And I had some that were dyed that I just wasn't using and had plenty of.
Yeah.
So, her mom was like, yeah, she cried. She was so happy that you did that. I was like, oh, yeah, it's whatever. That's totally fine. But the way that especially with the styrofoam ball, her face was like, what?
Yeah.
You can do that? Yes, you can do that. And I had another little girl, I think she was like 11 or something, last year at Piedmont Arts in Martinsville. We were, again, doing a chicken. The chickens are very popular.
Yeah.
She didn't live here. She lived in like Miami or something. And they were visiting family for the weekend. And they took the class. Like the daughter took the class, and she, again, styrofoam ball was like, what? You can, yes, this. It's very. I use styrofoam balls or styrofoam bases if I can.
Yeah.
Anytime I can.
Yeah.
And so she started. We finished the chicken pretty early because it was just me and her, and we ended up going on my phone, and I was showing her all sorts of different techniques for felting that I teach, but she's out of town, so she's not going to be able to take any more classes from me,
right,
and stuff like that. And just sitting there going over everything with her, and the way her face just like lit up with like, I cannot wait to do this when I get home. So her mom gave me her number, and I texted her mom because the little girl didn't have a phone, I think. Texted her mom like all the links that we went through.
Right.
And so I don't know whatever happened after that, but I'm assuming that she was very happy for me to go over all that. And
Oh, that's so sweet. That's so fun. And I mean, that just goes back to what we were just talking about, just you full throttle wanting to share all of your knowledge with anyone and everyone that is willing to listen, and also the power of social media and being able to connect with students that may not live locally and still getting to share your love with them. That's so sweet. Oh, I love that. What advice would you give to someone who feels creatively stuck or maybe hesitant to try something new?
Creatively stuck. So creatively stuck and trying something new for me personally are like two different issues. Well, not really issues, just, topics, I should say.
Yeah, for sure.
For being stuck on something, whether it's an art block or you're like working on something and you're like, you don't know how you can get past it. Like, I don't know. I'm working on an alpaca right now for a customer.
Yeah.
And the alpacas are so hard. And I'm using her fiber, so it's really pretty fiber, but I'm like, they're not looking like alpacas.
Yeah.
I've been working on an alpaca for 3 days. I had to put it down. So putting it down and not looking at it for as long as you need. If it's like a month, that's fine too. I normally just put it down for a couple days because I, got to get the order done for the customer.
Right.
So, having an art block, just put it away. Maybe go do something else, whether it's another project you need to work on, or take a break mentally. Like sometimes you just need to be like, no more for a couple days, and that's fine. Hesitant to try something new, whether it's felting or painting, because I do both. All I really have to say to that is, I was really hesitant to try needle felting, especially after that lady told me it wasn't allowed, which was super weird. And I was like 23 at the time when that happened. So I was still like in that like teenager mindset when I was 23. So I was like, oh, well, maybe I'm not supposed to. But I bought a kit and just did it. The kit looked horrible. It didn't come out good. It looked horrible. But I kept going.
Yeah.
And it was fine. But you don't know until you try.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to try, no one's going to force you. Just don't do it. But if you keep having that thing in the back of your head, like, but what if? Just do it. At that point, just be like, okay, it's fine. Yeah. And if you're not good at it, you won't know until you try. And it's not the end of the world if you're not. There's things I can't do 3D felting. Like, again, back to that. I've tried it. I'm not good at it. I can do the simple stuff. I can't do the pretty stuff like all those other professional artists can do. And that's okay. I'm still living life. I just know I can't do it. I know my limitations. Same thing. Hesitant to try something you won't know till you try. And then you'll figure out your limitations. Or you'll figure out, oh my gosh, I actually do like this. Let me keep trying it. And then, you never know what can happen after that.
Yeah.
I'm a prime example of that with the needle felting.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. Trying the thing that you don't know a lot about, that you were discouraged in, and then turning it into a career, like, that's the dream. That really.
There was, what was the last art on tap class that we did? Was it the mountain painting?
Yeah, the little mountain painting.
There was that guy there with his wife and I think their friend, and he was like, I'm not artistic at all. Yeah. Like the whole time he's like, I'm not artistic at all. And I'm like, dude, he actually did, I think he did really decently well. He did decently well. Yeah. And I was like, see, look at the end of the class, he was like, oh, I'm actually not that bad. No, you're not. Yeah. But you tried it. Right. That's the thing. He's like, I didn't think I was going to like this. He was super chill. He's like, I didn't think I was going to like this. I don't think I'm really good at it. And then he ended up doing decently well. I mean, the painting looked like the painting, the example. Exactly. And I'm like, see, look what happened. You did really good. Yeah. And then he's like, I want to do this again. Please do. Right. Yeah. See, I told you, it's not that bad. Exactly. So. Yeah. Just give it a try. Just give it a try. Speaking of art on tap, how do you tailor each art on tap session to make it accessible and enjoyable for both beginners and experienced artists? Our art on tap for the audiences, we talked a little bit about this in past podcasts. Art on Tap is a collaboration that Bauer and Beals Brewery does together, where Bauer brings art to Beals, and it's a 2-hour Sunday afternoon experience. And we bring different forms of art. There's painting. I think there's tote, stamping, creating, decorating. Remind me what our next one is. Oh, it's Star Wars. Yeah. Yes. May the 4th be with you. Yes, we had this scheduled because I tried to do it on like the first Sunday of like every other month, I think is what we were trying to do. And it landed on May the 4th without us even trying. And it was just absolutely perfect. Yes. So we're doing a May the 4th Star Wars painting for our next Art on Tap. It's going to be lightsabers. Yes. Acrylic. I think we're doing acrylic. Yes. Yeah. Acrylic. It's going to be super easy. Yes. So we're super excited about it. And you just come to Beals. It's 2 hours on a Sunday afternoon, 2 to 4:30ish sometimes. Grab a beer. And it's also amazing. And the food. So yes. Oh my gosh. The soft pretzel. Yes. So, and just have a good time. So we're going to talk a little bit about that art on tap because Belle is actually a main instructor that comes and does all of these super awesome things with us. So how do we tailor each art on tap experience to make it accessible and enjoyable for both beginners and experienced artists? So I go in it with an open mind. Yeah. I go in it with, I'm going to have a mixture of both. Sometimes I don't, sometimes I do. Sometimes it's all experience, sometimes it's all beginners. That's fine. And I just kind of judge the lesson off that. I normally have like a go-to lesson plan in my head where, and this applies to every class I teach, every horse lesson I teach. Yeah. I start with the simplest of the simple and just do that step by step until we're done. Yep. And then, if the students are like, okay, we can go faster, or I just kind of watch, I'll observe. And, you saw at the other Art on Tap class a lot, there's several people that really needed my attention the whole time. And that was fine. There were some that didn't need my attention, even though I would check in with them, so I'll do that too. Lots of observation to see who needs help, who may be struggling a little bit on a certain part of the painting, who seems to be doing fine on their own, who doesn't need any help. They just want to sit there and paint and copy the reference that I provide, and they're good to go. They don't even want to talk. That's fine too. Yeah. So just observation and checking in, and then just my go-to lesson plan of the step by step throughout the entire duration of the class, and then just kind of go off that. Whatever happens at the same time. I'll go in with a very open mind and a very open lesson plan at the same time. Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Belle's really good at the, I think a lot of people come into workshops or an experience like Art on Tap and they're like, oh, I'm just going to get lost in the crowd. I'm just going to get lost in this experience. Bella's really, really good about it's almost like a one-on-one experience, but with 15 different people. She's just very good at making sure that every single person is okay. And that's what makes her such an awesome instructor. Yeah. So if someone is hesitant to join an Art on Tap event because they think maybe they're not artistic,
what would you say to encourage them? We can elaborate on that because I think we kind of talked about that a lot the last little bit of a segment. But if you wanted to elaborate maybe a little bit.
Well, it goes back to that particular guy that came with his wife and friend. Again, super nice guy. And he blatantly came out and said, I mean, this guy wasn't rude at all. He was very sweet. He's like, I'm just not good at painting. I am not an artistic person.
Yeah.
I just came because my wife really wanted me to come.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's cool, dude. You know, if you just want to sit there, that's fine. You don't have to paint. No one's making you. He ended up, painting, and he just kept saying, I'm not really good at it. I'm not really, the entire 2.5 hours, he kept saying that. I was like, and that was one of the guys I kept checking back in with. It was him and 2 older ladies at the other table that I constantly kept checking in with because I knew they needed it. I was like, no, you're doing great. Yeah. Just here, let's add some little bit here. Let's add a little bit here. And then, blend it. We're good. You're doing great. This is awesome. Yeah. This is looking amazing. Yeah. So hesitant to try if you feel like you're not artistic. I mean, I have so many people needle felting and painting, and I also teach at a private school watercolor painting, and there is a kid in there that is not artistic at all. Yeah. And he knows it. I don't discourage him anyway. Like, do your best. Yeah. You know what? If you're putting in the minimal amount of effort to be creative in the class, that's all I'm asking from you. Yeah. Absolutely. And you're still doing it, Yeah. It ends up having a good time anyway. Yeah. But hesitant to try. Don't think you're artistic. Just goes back to what I always say, you don't know till you try. And I have so many people that come in that are not artistic. Needle felting, a lot of people that needle felt are like, I'm not artistic at all. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. I already have this template ready for you. Yeah. And I have everything color coded for you. You put this color here and that color there. Yeah. And we'll just, and it looks fine at the end of the class. And I'm like, see, you don't have to be technically super artistic because I provide the reference. I am providing a physical sample and I literally sit there and guide you step by step, color by color, blend by blend, paintbrush by paintbrush on how to do this. So you are happy with it and you are comfortable and you feel accomplished at the end of the class. That's always the goal is I don't want you to sit there and leave like, oh, I hate this or I didn't have a good time. No, I want you, I try, especially if it's a lot of students, I really try to cater to everybody. Yeah. It's hard sometimes when it's a lot of people, but I put an effort in. That's the best I can do. Yeah, absolutely. But, you can't change everyone's mind. If they're going to sit there and just not want, they're thinking they're not artistic and I'm, trying to connect and they don't want to. I mean, there's nothing you can really do at that point. But you don't know until you try. Yeah. You just got to try it. You just got to, take small risks. Yeah. Take the small risk.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing about the Art on Tap is that it's not maybe... as someone who may not consider them an artist or artistic in any way, it's not as intimidating as going to the Bower to a workshop. Like this is just, you just got to think of it as a paint and sip. It's a little bit like...
It's literally what it is.
Literally, yeah, it is. It's just you getting together with your friends and having a fun little craft to do.
And that's literally what it was the last time. Yep. Like there was a lady in there who blatantly was like, I hate this, but I had a good time. Yeah. Like her painting. She hated her painting. But I had a great time.
Exactly. It's just there for the good times and the good vibes. So make sure to join and we'll talk a little about that at the outro. But I want to make sure we talk about Belle's next workshop coming up, which is the Felted Wool Forest Painting Workshop. So can you just describe what a felted wool painting is for those who might not be familiar?
So a felted wool painting is you're painting with wool. You're using, roving, which is the wool you use for felting. Yeah. It's been processed. It's been processed as in washed, dyed, and carded. And we use the needle felting needles, which are super, super sharp and have special barbs in them, which are almost microscopic. They're so tiny. Yeah. And when I do the wool paintings, I use either a linen base piece of cloth or like a felt square or a felt, piece from like, Michaels or something. Yeah. And, cut it to size. I roughly sketch out with a Sharpie, where, proportions and, horizon lines, all that stuff. Yeah. And I do normally have I normally work off of a reference, mainly for the color palette, where I have a photographic memory. So after I look at the picture I want to attempt to recreate, I have it down in my head, but color wise, I can't remember. So I just look at that for the colors mainly. And it's just layer after layer after layer. You start with, the minimum amount and just build and build and build. And the cool thing about needle felted paintings is if you mess up a layer or mess up a piece, you can just tear it out. So you just tear it right out. Absolutely. It's super easy. So just that's basically what it is. Just painting with wool. It's not as intimidating as it sounds. I know the sample picture on the Bauer website might look a little intimidating.
Yeah.
It really isn't. It's just layers and layers and layers of that wool, very, very thin. Just build and build, similar to painting. Any painters listening, about layering.
Yeah.
Either if it's acrylic or watercolor, because it's it's the only ones that I've ever painted with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lots of layering, especially with watercolor.
Yeah.
Same process, and it's very laid back, and there's no expectations. Again, I have no expectations of the students. I just go in like, I just want you to have a good time. That's the only thing I'm expecting out of you. I want you to have fun. I don't want you to beat yourself up if you're not getting it or not understanding. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not here putting you on a pedestal, wanting you to create exactly what I'm creating. No. And I have some students too that, in classes, a great example is I did a Highland cow brooch several years ago. This lady came in with her sister. It was like, I don't want to make that. I'm going to make whatever I want. That's fine. Yeah. You have the tools in front of you, the roving colors and everything in front of you. Create whichever you want. She created a donkey.
Yeah.
I didn't care. She had a great time.
Yeah.
I don't care. So if you're sitting there and you're like, you know what? I want my trees to be over here instead of over here. I don't care. Do it.
Yeah.
If that makes you happy.
Yeah.
You're just part of the class, man. You paid for this. I want you to have a good time.
Right. Absolutely.
So,
I love that. So for those of you who might be interested in joining, that is Tuesday, April 15th, because we're in April now, I think. So April 15th. If you guys want to join on, you can register at bowercenter.org. So just make sure to check out that and to also follow us on social media for all of her next workshops. For our final question, I just want to give you some time, like what's next for you, any upcoming projects or classes or workshops that you're particularly excited about. And they don't have to be at Bauer. They can just be any of the ones that you're working on right now.
We have the Sharp Top Fiber Fest coming up April 19th from 9 to 4 at the Sedalia Center.
Yeah.
I am stoked for that. Yes. We have a lot of new vendors. I'm under my new name, the Fiber Nymph. Oh, because because I, shut down the farm because I am moving in October to Texas.
We're so sad.
I know. Erica's like, no, Belle, don't leave me. And then my boss at my barn job, she's like, Belle, no. I'm like, sorry, it's ready. I'm ready to go. I'm ready. Yeah. I've been here, got my life back together now.
Yeah.
I'm ready to move on to the next, and I really miss my boyfriend.
Yes.
So, but that's coming up in a week and a half.
Yeah.
I'm really scared for that. I do have the Sheep and Goat Festival in Dublin, Virginia. It's the last Saturday in September, I believe, September 28th, I think it is this year. We get between 2,000 to 3,000 people.
Oh, wow.
I am going to be teaching a needle felting class there alongside my booth. Really excited. I always have a great time at that event. And it's a very educational event too. They have, because it's held at the fairgrounds in Dublin. So they have one barn with learning to shear and sheep breeds and how to herd with collies. They have another barn that's educational vet wise, and then the vendor barn, which is us. And this will be my third year doing it. I'm third and last year, sadly. And they basically begged me because I wasn't taking any classes after September because I want to spend September focusing on packing and prepping mentally for this giant move across country.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're like, please. I was like, okay, I will make the time for you. I love you guys. You guys have been so great to me. Yes, I will do this. Really excited for that. And then, just that big move in October, and plan on, probably finding places to teach in Texas the first of the year. I'm probably going to give the rest of the year off for me to mentally settle down from traveling across country with a horse and 3 dogs.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot, but I'm really excited for that. And then just, I'm really excited for all the classes that I teach.
Yeah.
Because I teach at several different venues all over Virginia.
Yeah.
And I enjoy teaching at every single one of them. So I always look forward to every class that I teach. Even if it's just one person signed up, I don't care. Have a great time.
Yeah.
I'm just happy that one person's there to want to learn.
Absolutely.
So, and then we get others that are sold out, which that's great too. So,
So what's your social media? Just so people know and can stay updated with you.
Let me bring up my Instagram super quick because I changed it and I can't remember. All right, so the Fiber Nymph, so it's fiber_nymph. That's my Instagram. And then my Facebook is the Fiber Nymph, just spaces in between. I think the first letter of every word is capitalized.
Okay.
Other than that, that's all the social media I have.
Yeah.
Want to do more, but time does not allow me to.
No, I totally got you. Yeah, y'all make sure to follow Belle Thomas, the Fiber Nymph, so that you can stay up to date on all the things that she's bringing. But that brings us to the end of today's episode of Behind the Bower. A huge thank you to Belle for sharing your passion for needle felting, creativity, and teaching. So great to have you on.
Yes, thank you. This is great. It was a lot of fun.
So if you're feeling inspired to try something new, don't miss our upcoming workshops at Bower Center for the Arts or the Art on Tap series at Beale. Both are great opportunities to get creative in a fun, welcoming environment. Like I said, the needle felting workshop is Tuesday, April 15th. And then our next Art on Tap is May the 4th. That's a Sunday. But don't wait too long because spots fill up quickly for both. So head over to bowercenter.org to learn more and sign up. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week with more stories and inspiration on Behind the Bower.